Okay. Well set, okay. Yeah. Yes, okay. Can you hear me all right? Okay, thank you very much. Welcome everybody to the North County Regional Fire Authority Commissioners Meeting for January 22nd, 2025. It's 4 p.m. and I want to have roll call attendance.
Commissioner Cade?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner Oakes?
Here.
Commissioner Ertley? Here. Commissioner Schreiber?
Here.
Commissioner Sloan Buchanan? Here. All present.
All right, thank you very much. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have public or employee comments that are signed up?
None at this time.
Okay, all right. Then we'll go to the IAFF Local 3438 report.
Everything working back there? You hear me okay, Teresa? Hello, again, Kirk Norman, North County Professional Firefighters Vice President now. Thanks, as always, for the opportunity to address you today. We're just going to get right to it. 2 weeks ago, the Labor Group addressed this commission, declaring the need for an immediate leadership change, citing serious concerns about morale, trust, communications, and strained relationships with every stakeholder related to the fire authority. We have not heard from this commission since then regarding what should be a compelling statement from your uniformed firefighters requiring some form of action on your behalf. In 2021, you spent over $80,000 hiring All-American leadership to perform a culture survey. The results painted a dire picture of mistrust and failed communication between the uniformed firefighters and leadership. We watched as the results were spun, relying on a lack of specificity and employees being unwilling to name people for fear of retaliation. Retaliation that we've already told you we're afraid of. Chief pointed to other leaders within the organization instead of taking accountability and changing his behaviors. You even paid a consultant, Doug Koonsman, to coach our leadership to improve the culture of this agency. A year later, they came back and they did a follow-up survey. Do any of you remember what the results of that survey said? Because I do. I watched the video. The labor group insisted on a subjective line so that we could actually write our answers in and not simply click bubbles. And in that subjective line, Chief Cermak was named overwhelmingly as the source of our primary source of distrust and miscommunication. Trust was staggeringly low, lower than that man had seen in many of his results. And our members risked their careers to indicate to you, the folks who paid for that test, that survey, what the problem was. Chief Cermak is a driven leader, but his leadership style is toxic and it is disingenuous. Local 3438 is losing confidence that Chief Cermak is capable of managing the challenges of this agency, especially as we move into a levy year. We are losing confidence that Chief Cermak has the desire or the ability to prioritize the safety and well-being of your citizens and firefighters over those of his pet projects. We continue to operate out of stations with undrinkable water, with unnecessarily cross-staffed units, and entire areas of the districts that you represent staffed at minimum staffing levels. Conversely, the training center continues to grow, as does the debt associated with it, and we cannot seem to secure any form of contracts to offset that debt. Your labor group, your firefighters who don't want to be here doing this are asking you for a change. External stakeholders tire of the inability for honest collaboration. While internal employees have cited Chief Cermak's behavior in their clinically diagnosed PTSD. These are not unfounded statements, and these are not made frivolously. We have serious concerns, and we have remained unheard. The very survey that you all paid for clearly demonstrates that Chief Cermak is unhealthy for the fire authority and resistant to changing his ways. At this point, I'm having a hard time understanding what more you as a commission need to hear to transition this leadership. And so we're asking you today, and I would like a response. When are you, the commission, going to honor your word to the citizens to transition the leadership of this fire authority? It was agreed to in the RFA merger, and it is now 2025, with Chief Cermak's leadership continuing to do damage to those around him. Do you intend to honor your word to your voters and the firefighters who serve them and you? That is my question. Would anyone be comfortable answering that question today?
We always honor our word as a board, and you will hear from the board when the board is ready to give you more specifics on that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? That's it for 3438. Thank you. Have a good
Okay,
afternoon.
thank you very much. Appreciate that. Before proceeding to the approval of the agenda, I've been made aware that an amendment is needed for item 7, executive session. For the second item discussed during the executive session, we will need to have an additional discussion allowable under RCW 42.30.110, subparagraph 1, subparagraph G, to review the performance of a public employee. Therefore, we would table the discussion of matters related to collective bargaining issues and negotiation to a future meeting agenda. Are there any questions or discussion? Does someone want to make that motion that I just said? I move to amend item 7, executive session, citing the second topic as set forth in RCW 42.30.110 sub 1 sub G, to review the performance of a public employee and approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion as stated.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so that is amended on there. So now I will call for the a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
So, okay, second.
It was Leonard.
Leonard, second. Okay, fine. Okay, that's done. Okay, now I want to move on to approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the January 8th, 2025 minutes?
So move.
Okay, a second? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And then on general fund accounts payable under consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve general fund accounts payable?
So move.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, moved and seconded. All in favor of approval of consent agenda, general fund accounts payable?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, at this time, we are going to move into executive session. We will have 2 executive sessions back to back with anticipated action when we come out of it. And I'm going to set a time for 30 minutes total for the 2 sessions, probably 10 minutes on one and 20 on the other. So we will ask on this initial, the initial executive session, I want Allison Jubb in attendance, and Chiefs Kraske and Cermak to also be in on that. Oh, and Randy Crum, our finance director. I want them to attend that first one here. So, if someone could set us for well, 10 minutes initially on this, and then we'll extend that if we need to, and then we'll move to that different subject on the second one. So I'll let everyone, we'll move into executive session here as soon as we can clear the room, and everybody.
Thank you, yes. It's just fine. Yep, thank you. No worries. Thank you. That's fine.
Okay. Calling us back into regular session after back-to-back executive session. Following that first executive session regarding payroll corrections, I'd like to have Secretary Wheeler read Resolution 01222025-01 into the record, which will then be presented to the board for possible adoption. Go ahead. Is your mic ready?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
North County Regional Fire Authority, Resolution Number 01222025-01 regarding payroll corrections. Whereas North County Regional Fire Authority, the RFA, is committed to ensuring that its members are correctly compensated as required by the collective bargaining agreement and applicable laws. Whereas in 2024, RFA staff first identified certain payroll issues involving overtime compensation that may require correction for certain members during work periods in which their hours exceeded the applicable FLSA threshold. And whereas, upon first identifying the issue, the RFA notified IAFF Local 3438, the union, that it would be undertaking a detailed analysis in the interest of making corrections where appropriate. And whereas, in an effort to avoid any future underpayment, while the RFA developed processes to ensure accurate payment on a prospective basis, the RFA notified the local that it would be paying overtime at the FLSA required rate while reserving the right to seek reimbursement once the analysis were completed. And whereas, to ensure accuracy in determining the appropriate compensation due each member, the RFA retained an independent consultant. And whereas, the RFA has since identified or been notified by individual members of other potential issues apart from overtime pay, which may need to be corrected. And whereas, the Commission finds that it is in the interest of both the RFA and its members to prioritize accuracy over a hasty resolution. And whereas, the Commission is desirous of correcting errors from August 1, 2021 to the present, the correction period, even though certain claims during that period may be time barred. And whereas, to ensure finality to this process, the Commission is interested in establishing a fixed date of June 30, 2025, review request deadline for members to review their payroll records and to notify the RFA of any potential payroll discrepancies. Whereas correcting errors that are time barred would constitute a gift of public funds in the absence of consideration, e.g. a settlement agreement. Now, therefore, the Commission resolves as follows. Number 1, staff are directed to continue their efforts to identify and quantify potential payroll errors which may have occurred during the correction period and that have either I, been identified by the RFA, or 2, about which the union or individual members notify the RFA in writing by the review request deadline. Number 2, the fire chief is directed to promptly approve payments to affected employees for any payroll underpayment errors that occurred for the period of August 1, 2021 through the review request deadline, provided the employee and the union execute a settlement agreement in the form acceptable to the RFA, which contains a release of claims. Number 3, The governing board further directs the fire chief to limit payment of underpayments to affected employees to only the period of payroll underpayment required by applicable statutes when no settlement agreement has been executed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt that?
I move to adopt resolution number 012222025-0.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Which one wants to take it? Okay, so Commissioner Sloan Buchanan, seconded. Okay, call the roll.
Commissioner Cade,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes?
Commissioner Kelly,
Is he on? He was having bandwidth problems.
You might be muted.
Commissioner,
Are you
Commissioner,
there, Leonard?
He can raise his hand if he votes yes.
Anyway,
he voted yes. I have a note from him. Thank you.
okay, all right, okay.
Commissioner Oakes, Commissioner Ertley, Commissioner Sloan Buchanan,
Yes.
Commissioner Schreiber.
Yes.
Thank you. That is all unanimous.
Okay, I thank you very much for that, appreciate it. And on the executive, the second part of the executive session, I would like a motion to direct Human Resources Director Jubb and Fire Chief Cermak to identify resources and options for the board to select an interim fire chief and present to the board no later than February 26, 2025, the second commission meeting next month.
Commissioner Johnson, can you turn your mic on and repeat
Oh, I'm
that?
sorry. I had that covered, sorry. Okay. Regarding our second executive session, I said I would like a motion to direct Human Resources Director Jubb and Fire Chief Cermak to identify resources and options for the board to select an interim fire chief and present to the board no later than February 26, 2025, the second commission meeting next month. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And now, saving the best for next. Chief Goforth, where are you? There he is. Okay. We now have our community risk reduction presentation by Assistant Chief Goforth. There he is. It should be live
That's
now.
the problem. How much was it?
Aim it at yourself.
Oh, okay. Thank you, commissioners, staff, and attendees. This is my report. It's going to keep it brief. It was the end of the year and coming through vacation and everything. If you notice on my first slide, I have a lot of challenges with technology this year as far as all the tablets kind of shut down and went into blue screen, and they were purchased before the RFA, so I went to Brian Terry and they were just kind of out. So it was time to change those over. So I went to paper. So that worked as far as giving out paper inspections, but my collection and ability to give real-time data back was limited. But you can see it. I was able to get it in my screen, and on the second page you'll see we did a total of 517 inspections, 193 initial inspections over in Stanwood, and 214 in Arlington. Arlington wants biennial inspections, so we only do inspections on medium and high order occupancies every other year, and then Arlington has decided to do self-inspection forms for business and mercantile. The contract had January 1st, 24. They haven't. I hear right now they're almost ready to start, so I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But in the interim, I have these tablets moving forward that we got for first due, and thank you as far as they approved SIM cards for them. So the connectivity is a lot better with these. The ones that we had before were old and they only had Wi-Fi. So I saw what the crew saw is that you would go out and your internet would go out and you have to go back to a station. And this is something they're doing in between calls. It just doesn't end up being very beneficial. So this kind of gives you an idea of the inspection. 77% passed on the first try and 23% were written up. And then reinspect 2 would be mine, and then after that it goes to code enforcement. I have a handful that are going to code enforcement on the Arlington side right now that I'm working on a push there. You see the NFPA, that's kind of where I base my time, and it's based on a weighted average of building inspectors, so I'm not just coming up with my own independent review of what my time charged is. Unfortunately, with these and other cases, you can't really pull the car over and stop. You have to keep doing inspections, even though you face the challenges. But I look forward to the coming years as far as with this new system. On a really good note, as far as the school education, they completed except for Stanwood Elementary, and if you'll see Captain Fleshbein and firefighter paramedic Huff kind of work together. I think Huff is going to end up taking it over from Captain Fleshbein. They coded it, and then the NCF RFA firefighters Alan Combs, Scott Pylon, Levi Wagner, Jordan Jackson Brewer all helped with the education. If there's anybody that did and wasn't listed, all you guys did a great job. Get nothing but good reviews from there. And what they teach is basic fire safety and smoke alarms, and there's also homework that goes with them to check their fire alarms or their smoke alarms at home. And if they don't have it, I'll go out and put some in for them. So that actually got a few calls this year. So that was kind of great. One I have after the second one, but you can see the hours that were spent on that and the students in each, and we're still approaching Stanwood Elementary because we weren't able to get a call back, but if they call back, we'll go out and do that. The response from them is we would like more grades, more everything. They love seeing the firefighters. The next page just has some pictures. That's firefighter paramedic Huff, and then some of the thank yous that come and the drawings that they send back. And then after that, this is a smoke alarm install. It was actually out in Oso. She went to school in Arlington, but her house is way out there in Oso, and a single mom with I went out there, there's 5 kids in there. The husband had left and had taken the smoke alarms out because they were talking to him or something. He had a mental disorder, but I really felt so good to go out there. They had absolutely nothing there, so that was a good win. Also, Stanwood put out a reader, and I got a couple where I'm going out tomorrow just to change the batteries because we have a lot of homes and developments that went in about 2008, and they're all people are calling that it's kind of older folk that have high ceilings and
What's that chirping sound?
yeah, it's like the 10-year end of life. So we're kind of going out there. But with those, the smoke alarms I get through grants are just battery kind of like here, but they're not interconnected. So a lot of times they'll buy the interconnected ones and we'll go install them for them because we don't need to go out there for a fall. We'd rather just go out there to change them for them. There, just another picture of the classroom. Just the kids and our great firefighters giving their message. On the next page, this is kind of cataloged through all the little fire truck rides and tours that we do through the year. A lot of them are in the summer and back to school and I'm getting the data on because they seem to all come in the summer, and that's when our call volume goes up. So, but they do a great job. I've never had crews give me any kind of flack about doing the right thing and giving public education. We always love doing it. I also identified here, I didn't have very many public education events out with Still-Glamish. They did call me to go do some finalizing on some of their buildings, but I'd like to attack that this year as far as getting inroads into there and providing. I did meet with the police department and exchange some keys with them for Knox boxes so their police department can open up stuff as we go and we keep track of it. One of their detectives I worked with, or their captain I worked with in Everett as a detective, so it's a good relationship there.
Excuse me, can citizens donate money directly to North County for purposes of providing you with smoke detectors?
I've always gotten through grants and I bought some, but as far as, is there an avenue to collect money? Yeah,
It's not tax deductible, but yes, we collect donations.
You could take tagged donations and say this $1,000 is for
Yeah.
I would
smoke
check with,
detectors.
I would check with Richard Davis on that. It may be tax deductible if we provide the letter that states that we're.
Okay, I understand, but
You have some kind of 501c3
Yeah.
structure?
I
I thought
think
you
we
set
can
one
do
up years ago, but I.
No, we didn't do the.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do
All right.
that, but
Now, anyway, let me know. Let me know. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
yeah, that would be great. I wasn't sure what the avenue was. I try not to take money when I'm out on inspections. Doesn't look good, so.
Yeah.
That's what I have here. Like I said, moving forward, it's going to be pretty good with these iPads going out. They were bought for First Two, which is the pre-planning software for the county. I can show it to you. All the other areas are doing it, South County and whatnot. So I'm having this one installed in my rig tomorrow, and then we're going to move to Battalion and the Stanwood and Arlington engine. So they also have their inspection software. It's got a SIM card in it. It always has connectivity. There's also talk of putting more programs on here as these become
Okay.
more useful. So
Well, thank you for the work that you do. We really appreciate it. Very important.
thank you.
You do your work, and then there's lots of people we'll never hear about because they didn't have an incident.
Well, that's the thing. If I do a good job, nothing happens. So it's
That's
hard
right.
to calculate
Exactly.
that
I
without
like it.
lots of data and
I
lots
like
of
that.
time.
Yes.
Chief Goforth, I met with Paul Ellis today, and he had only good things to say, that he's been getting feedback from the people when you do your inspections. And so they're feeling very positive about you.
Oh, that's
Could,
great.
could you tell me who Paul Ellis is?
He's the executive officer in Arlington.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Steve, you mentioned First Two. I would just throw out maybe for your next quarterly report, you actually put First Two up on the screen.
Yeah.
To show the commission like what that software does.
Absolutely.
I find that interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're moving into a special presentation, Camp Blaze update, and Captain Wilbur.
I'm just going to do a quick introduction here,
Okay.
Commissioner Johnson, because Captain Wilbur's been with us since November 1st, 2001, 23 years. Was a legacy Fire District 14 employee. And for many years, she's participated in something called Camp Blaze. And so we send her to this camp for about 4 or 5 days each year. Yes. And so I asked her about a few weeks ago if she would consider doing a short presentation to the commission. And I'll jokingly tell you that your battalion chief told me that you didn't answer my email on purpose because you thought I'd forget. Yes. Becky is not a fan of public speaking, but she reluctantly, after a follow-up communication with her, she said, yes, I will do it. So she's here tonight to talk to you about Camp Blaze, which is something that we very much promote her to participate in each year.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Camp Blaze is a female camp taught to young females to introduce them to leadership roles and also to the fire service. And there's a PowerPoint
Sorry.
that
Never heard of it. That's cool.
So while it's coming back, are these high school students?
they are. And they get picked. There's only, I believe, 24 to 30 that get to come to camp, and they have to submit an essay. And a lot of them are troubled teens, like from inner cities and stuff. So getting their hands on actual doing stuff and doing work and actually using chainsaws, doing all the things. You can keep going. So it's just a leadership camp for us. Like for me to talk, public speaking is very hard for me, but teaching what I love to do is my job, and teaching that to girls and empowering them to be able to do the same things I get to do, and having them see that females are doing these jobs, because most of the time they don't see female firefighters. They see a lot of white male firefighters. So trying to expand the reach of getting more females in the fire service is what we've been doing. It all started out with Camp Blaze was actually a 2 days. Some women from Seattle Fire and other local fire departments went to California for a 2-day camp, and they wanted to bring Camp Blaze back here. So they brought Camp Blaze back here. They tried it at the WSP in North Bend training facility, and then they held it there. Then the next year they held it in California. And then they decided that WSP was the best spot for it because it's actually away from the public. It's actually up a long road that we have to run during academy, which is awesome, to the gate. So it keeps the girls safe. and there's no males allowed on the training facility unless they're checked in at the main gate. So that's why they decided to keep it up there at the North Bend Fire Training Academy. And these are the skills that we get to work on with the girls. The leadership, that's for them and for us as firefighters, because a lot of us don't do public speaking. We just do our job. And that's what most of us just want to do. But my wonderful chief here that I support wholeheartedly, Krasky, and I hope that he is my next full-time chief, because that would end my career amazingly, and I'd be very thankful for that. But we also teach them team building, the fire behavior. We have a dollhouse that they burn through, and they get to learn about fire behavior. They learn about our PPE and our SCBA, that's our breathing apparatus. We do live fire evolutions with them. They actually get to go in on hose lines that they learn how to use. They have, and then for other live fire, they have vehicle fires with their portable fire extinguishers, which each one has an instructor with them to go in and put the fires out. Vehicle extrication, we go to Bellevue. The years that I've been part of it, we go to the Bellevue Fire Training Center, and we have cars. We have an aerial ladder that they get to climb all the way to the top and then rappel down. And then the search and rescue we do at North Bend. The interview prep, that's just a classroom at North Bend. And then the ventilation, we do it mostly on the flat prop because we don't want to put them on the elevated. But they still get to do all the ladder work and using the chainsaws and actually starting them and doing all that kind of thing. And then the CPR and first aid. Next. And then the incident command system is run just like fire service, so they get a little bit of taste of that, and fire service is more of a military type of command structure. So it just shows about that. And then that it's for Camp Blaze, a snapshot of them. It's 24 to 30 women, and it is ages 16 to 19. Campers are chosen by the application. There's one crew leader. So each group has crew leader for each 2 campers. And then the instructors are on top of that, and their crews, they just bring their crews in and out of our stations. And then we teach them the skills that we have, and they move to their next station. So the transportation, usually Seattle Fire actually has a van that they use for that. In the past, it could change if we have a van that we want to donate. And then the lodging is for 7 days and 7 nights up in the secure campus. And they get the clothes to wear, they get the bunker gear donated, they get the packs donated. All meals and snacks, everything is provided, including the laundry facility up there. And it's all done by donation, including by letting me go there. So you guys donate me as an instructor to go. And you guys have been doing that for, I believe, the last 10 years. And I go to Camp Blaze is every other year. And then in between that, I go to Capital Metro, and that's with Lacey Fire. So I go down there for the 2-day camp down there as well. And this is just from one of the girls, that we actually do make a big impact, and them seeing that there's other females just like them doing the job and empowering them to actually try. Because even when I was a little girl, I didn't know I could be a firefighter ever. I thought I'm way too girly. There's no way. But I've almost finished out my career, and it's been over 20 years. So we do make a big difference. And next. And then this is just about the local camps that it started, even the South County one. I didn't participate, which all my guys gave me a bunch of grief about, because I had spine surgery at the beginning of last year, so I wasn't able to participate in that. But all the people that do Camp Blaze also came up and did that camp as well, including all of these camps here. And most of the camps are in California, so it's just coming to Washington, and Camp Blaze has been here the whole time. And this is just some of the states that come as the volunteer instructors that we get to meet and do a lot of collaboration and going through about their departments and everything. And then the campers come from all over, and they can submit their application and their essays to be picked to the website. And these are just some of the departments that have had instructors go up there. And this is going to tell you and show you what we actually do. It's our fun video. If she can make it play. We're going to find it. It's right down. It's not this
Uh, Is there a wildfire training component in that?
We did have it this 2020 2024, yes, we had it. We had 2 brush trucks come up, and then one of the girls that used to be a hot shot, she actually was one who instructed that. Yeah.
Okay.
They
Is
don't
that
get
gonna
any
continue, is that
certifications.
gonna continue on?
They don't get any of the certifications because they're not of age yet.
Right,
But they do get the training
the
and they
exposure,
get the
yeah.
exposure to
Yeah.
it, just so they can see like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Because a lot of people, you don't know what you can do until you see the other
Right.
people doing it.
Right.
And that type of thing. So those are just some of the steps that we do. And some of the events I haven't been part of, but they've had that as well. Those are our girls.
Thank you very much.
So presenting this, I hope that you guys continue to support me in going to these camps and teaching. And when we get our new chief put into place, hopefully I'll bring back more females so we can have more female firefighters, because I'd like to say, since the Arlington merger, instead of being the lone full-time firefighter girl here at North County, there's actually 4 of us now. So 4 out of all of the full-time employees.
Okay.
It's pretty nice. So
Thank you very much.
Very thankful.
Thank
Didn't
you.
know about this.
Thank you.
Thank
Becky, I got a question.
Yes.
How many of these gals that go through Camp Blaze get hired into the fire service?
Actually, they said it was 86% actually go fire service, or even getting their certifications of even for babysitting. All go into some kind of healthcare.
And how many are local and how many are out of
It all
state?
depends on how many submit applications and how many get picked for it.
When they showed the 4 or 5 states where the participants were from, the
Right.
highest enrollment was Arlington.
It is.
I'm sorry, was
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought,
8
yeah,
to 1.
yeah, that's what it looked like, yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Wow.
Is there, I don't see any unfinished business to deal with, so I want to move into new business and December 2024 financial report. Finance Director Crum.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Randy Crum, Finance Director, bringing our last financial report for the year of 2024. You should have that before you, or we'll have it up on the screen here shortly. So if we go to page 3, the all cash investments, you can see we ended the year with about $14.3 million spread across the accounts. Next page, you can see that graphically represented. We reached a high point in our last 10 years, reached almost 16 million with the fall property tax distribution. So now we're starting our curve back down to next April. So next page, you'll see a general fund budget summary. You can the total current revenues. You can see we are 110% of our revenues. So that's always a good situation to be in. A lot of that had to do with the true up on the GMT funds that we finally received in October. Plus just overall GMT and transports were higher than forecast as well. So, excuse me, getting over a cough here. If we drop down to the bottom half, the expenses, you can see we ended the year right where we anticipated, 100%. Some of the departments were a little under, some were a little over. The two that were over were facilities. We had just higher utility costs than anticipated, and we had a lot of repair and maintenance. Every year, as our buildings age, they require more and more upkeep and maintenance. So we did overspend in that area. And then in the capital projects, we had some unexpected station improvements that we had to do as well. We had the Verkada access at Station 46, the garage doors at 97, location system at 48. The AV system in here had to be redone since we were making this our permanent home for commission meetings. And then hot water heater went out at 46 that needed help. So just in those station improvements, we had about 123,000 unexpected costs that we had to do that weren't optional. So, but all in all, we ended up, we planned on ending the year about 2.9, and we ended up at 5.7. So obviously, that's a great condition to end up higher than anticipated. So we're happy about that. Excuse me. Moving on to the next page, looking at our transport revenues. On the top half is GEMT, and you can see we forecasted 1.9 million expected revenues. We ended up at almost 3.5 million due to that large true up. So that GMT came in much stronger than anticipated, so that helped the bottom line. And then even on general transports, we're about $210,000 over what we forecasted there. So combined, we're about 1.8 million to the good on GMT and transport. So that was very helpful, funding this year's expenses. On the next page, you'll see just those two figures graphically represented, how GMT was pretty much right on track throughout the year until we got the true up in October, and then of course it jumped way up. On the bottom half, you'll see just general transports. We were a little bit above budget throughout the year, so both very good pictures. I like to see that. And then finally, we'll finish up with the wages and overtime. The top half of the chart there is our wage projections. We ended up about $800,000 under budget. So we had some positions we didn't fill right away, and some other circumstances. So we did have some savings there. Bottom half of the page is the overtime. You can see we're under budget all the way till about August, September, when we had all the vacations and all the MOB responses, and of course then we had to backfill all those positions. So we did end up, unfortunately, about 80,000 over budget there. But when you combine the two on the next page, or combined OT and overtime, we ended up about 722,000 under budget there. So that's also a good position. So in the finance department, January is always a really busy month for me because we're finishing up 24 numbers and reconciling, getting that all put to bed, and then kicking off the new year, rolling everything over, and then we have all our quarterlies, L&I, unemployment, 941 taxes, all that kind of stuff. So that's busy. And then we also are busily getting out the 1099s and the W-2s to the employees, and in addition to all our other stuff. So it's a busy month, but we're just moving right along, and I would entertain any questions if you had them.
Commissioners, any questions of Randy?
Randy, just a
Yeah.
comment or question. But in the overtime, you reference
filed land mobilization over time.
Mhm.
And it's just important to note that we get reimbursed for that. Right? So
Yes.
I haven't asked you in a while, but I don't know, have we, from our summer, fall deployments, we probably haven't received the labor reimbursement?
We've probably received most of them. I haven't had a chance yet to kind of analyze what we put out in backfill and overtime and all the versus our reimbursements. The reimbursements also include equipment and a few other items that we supply. But I have not had a chance to do an analysis and compare if we're ahead, behind. And we don't do it for the money, obviously, but it would be good to know if we're coming out ahead or at least even on the whole situation. So that's on my plate to complete one as soon as I'm able to. But that's a good point. Thank you, Chief.
Did I also hear correctly that we are reimbursed for the firefighters we sent down to California?
Yes, we will be. Yeah, we sign agreements with the different departments: Wash State Patrol, DNR, EMAC. We have kind of interlocal type agreements or
Right.
mutual aid agreements. So,
Right. Okay,
all right.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Who is handling the amendment on the training center fee schedule? Okay, Chief Cermak, go ahead. Oh,
Thank you. Commissioners, thank you. I attended the Snohomish County Training Chiefs Consortium, or Training Consortium Chiefs meeting, and it was pointed out that our fee schedule has the original fee that Scott Goodell did, and it was based off of true-ups of everything of past academies, and we didn't have that. So it's stated on there that there's a fixed fee for it, but in reality, the fee isn't fixed. It's evaluated based off of each academy. So in light of that, we need to take that fee off of there for the consortium and write to be determined and trued up basis versus a fixed fee. So that being said, when you look at the attachment on page 2, 3 of this packet, but 2 of the actual fee schedule that is on our site, it's 8850 and 10620. And I wrote a little note out in the outside that it should be to be determined by consortium true up after each class. With that, I would be searching for or requesting a motion to amend the.
I'll ask for that.
Okay.
Okay. So it's the recommended motion, it is recommended that the fee schedule be amended to state that consortium academy cost is adjusted and completed after all academy costs are calculated at the end of each academy. Motion to amend page 2 of the fee schedule for the consortium academy costs as to be determined after each class true up and agreed by ILA fire chiefs. I would need a motion. A
Second.
motion by Oaks, second by Schreiber, okay. Discussion or, okay, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Cade, go ahead.
Can I just get a quick clarification? So I understand the model that's been previously used where the true-up involved the costs from each agency, what they put in, correct? And so when in the future it's considered what the value that North County put in, would that be based on these figures right here? For example, a day at the tower, a day at the classroom, and we would use those figures to be input for that true-up?
Yes, we will get our use fee as part of that true up. And depending on what they use each day, the academy chief takes and fills out and checks off, do they use the entire site or are they not using, whatever, and it gets trued up at the end and then turned into the chiefs. And then I go down and meet with them and they say yes or no and vote. And then we have an actual cost. It has to do with how many shadow instructors that are there, that they approve. This last academy, few academies, we thought were going to be 70 people, so they had approved a heavier load of shadow instructors, and it to get approved to teach there all the time. So it increased the cost of the academy. That cost is part of the true up, but we still maintained and received the the amount of the rental fees appropriate to the days they utilized it. For instance, they still leave and go to Getchell Fire for one section, and they go to the car wrecking yard for another section. Those days are not charged to the consortium.
Thank you.
I have a
Oh,
question.
oh, go ahead.
Do we do a cost comparison with other facilities, training facilities, to see if ours are comparable?
We know what they are, but it's not a comparable site. So the only site that is close is the North Bend site.
Okay. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to the chief's report.
Thank you, commissioners. Again, I worked on a joint letter from the board chair and myself regarding the 2025 levy support unity to Local 3438. We received a clarifying email from Kirk Norman, the local vice president, that stated that they had a membership meeting at the end of the month and we're awaiting the official response from the local. The levy committee met with Liz Loomis. She is continuing as normal without sending out any material until the board votes on moving forward with the August election, which is due. We have to have our paperwork into the elections office, Randy, May 2nd. Is that right?
Yeah, like 60 days.
Yeah.
It's not March, it's May versus March, but we have to take action in March. I thought we had to take action.
Well, we
in
need
March.
to, at some point, we need to take action so that Liz knows whether to start the education campaign and
Okay.
everything that she does. She has everything
Right.
set up and started, but she's not going to roll that out until the board gives clear direction of where
Okay.
we're going. So
I want-
we met with the company for a report
that
on
2
progress of the capital facilities plan. They are on par for a first or second meeting in March. Is that correct, Doug?
Right, February, you'll have another Zoom meeting with the two of us to go over their status, and then we should have something from them in March.
Yeah, so in either the first or second meeting, they'll come to the board to do a report on their findings for the capital facilities plan. NCRFA met with Fire District 21 two times. One time I was unable to attend because I was at the Snohomish Fire Chiefs. Chief Kraske attended that with staff to keep that process moving along. I worked with Fire District 20, or worked on the Fire District 21 ILA changes with Eric Quinn. And I believe after Chief Kraske replies that he will send that to Mitch Cogdill. I gave you input. So NCRFA staff met with PCG and were briefed on our EMS GEMT costs and recoveries and their projection for a future true-up. And they feel that we are conservative in our approach to charges and could anticipate another positive true-up in July. I attended the consortium chiefs meeting and was made aware of what we just presented there. Thank you for passing that. There's a lot of work being done to make the next step in the training consortium move forward. When it originally was started, it was the academy and joint training within all of the organizations to unify our training programs, and all of the departments are working hard to make the next step happen for joint training outside of that. And they're taking the approach to put a menu together of, if you want the whole shebang, you pay for the whole amount. If you just want to do one section of it, you pay that amount. And it's a plug and play of what you want to be part of. They take into consideration what you offer to the process and reduce based off of that. And they're coming up with a whole model that I'm sure you'll hear more of in the future. Both BC Kuntz and DC Kraske have attended multiple meetings from dealing with the operational and training level involvement necessary from our staff. And then also NCRFA staff worked on multiple issues surrounding negotiations, in which we have a meeting all day tomorrow on. And that's the end of my report, unless you have any questions.
All right, great. No more questions from everybody? All right, thank you very much, Chief, appreciate it. Okay, now, the commission will now meet in executive session. I'm sorry for the length of time tonight. We'll try to make it quick, but commission will now meet in executive session as set forth in RCW 42-30-110, subparagraph 1, subparagraph G, to review the performance of a public employee. While no final action takes place during an executive session, for your information, there may be action once the regular session resumes. So I'll ask everybody to leave except for our HR director. I think I'm going to ask both of you to step out initially, and then I will probably ask you back in after a few minutes. But I just want to clarify that. Okay, thank you.
Turn your mic
Thank
on.
you,
Your
everybody. What? Oh, sorry.
Or Mike.
Here we go. All right, live. Okay. Okay, I appreciate everybody here and tried to hang on. There's not a whole lot to say. We just came out of executive session and we're going. It's running. There's too many details and there's too much time involved that we're going to have to. We're either going to pick up the executive session again in 2 weeks, or I may call a special board session just for the purposes of hashing out the executive session issues. But I'm not going to take any action or have any motions right at this time on that because there's just too many questions, too much differing opinions on that without clear consensus. So I want to just call, so thank you for everybody for being here, appreciate it. Are there some board commissioner comments to be made here at the last, before, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Kelly has his hand up, I apologize. I didn't mean to oversee that, overlook that. Oh, okay. Okay. It got me gun shy now. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Being involved with the District 21 talks the last month, we've met a few times. Feels like we're moving in the right direction. I think there's some good momentum, and I think we've got some homework that we're doing on our side, and hopefully we can get some numbers and see if this plan can come together. So, but I'm hopeful.
Thank you. Other?
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Well, thank you, Marilyn.
I'm
You've
sorry.
been part of it.
Holly?
It's been good.
Okay. Go
At
ahead.
city council meeting on Monday, is Heather Logan was sharing about a meeting she'd been at in reference to Matt Hickman, and just a lot of positive comments from the people at that meeting. So thank you.
She's on the city council, right?
Heather Logan is.
Yeah. Is her husband still a PUD commissioner?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Other? Commissioner Kelly?
Yeah, in Chief Cermak's report, he mentioned about the levy lid lift and the expediency and the importance of working with Liz Loomis and getting her a message on what we're going to do. I'm just wondering if it would be appropriate that we have a motion made on going ahead with the levy lid lift to have it on the ballot in August. Make that decision tonight. I mean, I know there hasn't been any discussion on it, but I feel like it's something we need to do and we should move on, especially after the chief's comments tonight.
I thank you for that, Leonard. I've already directed our board secretary to put that issue with potential action on the agenda for the next meeting in 2 weeks on that. Speaking just for myself right now, I think the support for the levy lid lift needs to be all hands on deck by all parties involved. It's part of our sacred trust with the voters and the citizens, and ultimately it is their call on increasing their resources for wages, hours, conditions, equipment, and facilities. So anyway, I plan to ask the commission in 2 weeks whether they would support that and move that forward to the ballot so it could be on the ballot in August. So, yeah.
I just wanted to thank the front row there for your reports tonight and all the nice work you guys do. Thank you.
Yeah, really. So, any other?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
That's the Greg Oaks Memorial motion. Wow.